Are you excited about the upcoming HBO adaptation of The Last of Us? This video game adaptation is rumored to be the most anticipated show of 2023, touted as one of the best console games ever made. It's no wonder the story in The Last of Us is being adapted. For the most part, fans of the game are thrilled that HBO will be the series producer. HBO has such a great track record of incredible television dramas. It makes sense that they would tackle this project. Have you been a part of the hype? Will you be tuning in on January 15th? So we can all prepare for the premiere, let's review some information everyone should know before watching. As most video game fans know, adaptation from game to film isn't always easy, and the end products are not always received with much acclaim. This could potentially be due to the different types of storytelling that take place within games and film. It could also be that it is very difficult to create the same tension in a game where the player is controlling the action. HBO does seem to be doing everything right. The creative director of The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, is involved as a producer alongside Craig Mazin, the creator of Chernobyl. Having both the original creative director of this story and an incredibly talented and practiced producer with an already incredible track record with HBO is nothing short of genius. Whatever the reason, fans of the Resident Evil game would agree that these differences made their favorite game into a nearly unwatchable series of films. It does appear that HBO is doing its best to keep this project as true to its roots as possible. There has been a lot of celebrity attention on the project as well. Ben Mendelsohn, the actor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has famously tweeted one of the actors in the TLOU project to politely ask for the story not to be messed with. The now viral tweet reads, "But Pask, Pedro Pascal, better not have effed it up. It's probably the greatest console game of all time. You don't F things up, and I'm very excited for the little I've seen of your traveling companion. A lot of us carry that game close. Trailer looks very promising. Miss ya." People are certainly apprehensive about this new project. Part of the problem could be just because of the track record of these other adaptations. What we must remember, however, is that HBO has never tackled a video game story. Maybe they will do an amazing job. After all, HBO is the leading source of amazing television dramas. Just look at some of the shows that have been released on HBO in the past few years: House of the Dragon, Chernobyl, Euphoria, Game of Thrones, and Barry. All exemplary shows with incredible production value and talent disappear from each delicious twist and turn. We don't think that HBO's involvement is even a coincidence. It almost seemed like they rubbed their hands together and went, well, it's about time we took on a video game. Either way, we're here for it. The most important information viewers will need before going in is the basic premise and setting of the story. The Last of Us is set in the United States after an unknown apocalyptic event. The country is ravaged and left as nothing more than a wasteland where major cities used to stand. Any fans out there of disaster stories or apocalypse stories would likely enjoy this series. No need to have played the game. Some people unfamiliar with the game but interested in the series may never play the game. They are very different mediums after all. As discussed before, the cast is studded with incredible talent. Pedro Pascal plays the lead of Joel, a smuggler who is paid to escort a young woman across the country. Fellow Game of Thrones star Bella Ramsey will play the lead female role opposite Pascal as Ellie. The cast includes many gems, including Anna Torv and Nick Offerman. Anyone worried about the talent of the performers set to tell this story need not worry about the actors chosen to replace the voice talents of the show. HBO has confirmed that the voice talents will be included in the series at some point to be respectful of their very important role in the project coming together. The story of this show will follow the events in the first game. There is a second game, but fans are still determining whether or not HBO will renew the show for another season. Even if the show is renewed, there is no guarantee that the events of the second game will be included in the story. Whatever the execs at HBO decide, we are confident that it will be worth the wait for January. What we do know at this point is that the entirety of the first game will be covered in the first season of the HBO series. So it's an apocalypse. The cast is filled with amazing actors. The story must be about zombies, right? Zombies have been increasingly popular for the last decade, sparking remakes and adaptations such as The Walking Dead and World War Z. Well, sort of. In this version of the familiar story, humans were wiped out by a parasitic fungus. The fungus infects the patient's brain and causes the host to become a zombie-like creature with enormous aggression. The science behind behind the story isn't even all that out there, which could contribute to the story's horror. There is a real-life fungus called the cordyceps fungus, which indeed attacks the host's mind. We suppose the best way to make something horrifying is to make it seem possible. This story is much more engaging than a typical zombie breakout, since the audience can see the catalyst based on a fungus in the world today. Spooky. It can't just be the actors and writers oozing talent. This is HBO. Of course, the musical score is also amazing. Composer Gustavo Santaolalla, the composer responsible for the game's score back in 2013. An amazing decision. Fans of the game will likely find themselves sinking into the show as they digest the original music. Santaolalla has also worked on the projects Brokeback Mountain and Making a Murderer. We do not doubt that he will bring heartfelt emotion to the screen with this score. Mazin, one of the producers of the series, replied to a tweet sent by Neil Druckmann when he dropped the news of the adaptation. "It's not TLOU if it's not Gustavo. We love HBO's dedication to all of the original talents that made this game and story great." The production will be shared between HBO and Naughty Dog, the latter being the original game's studio. HBO appears to include everyone from the original that could be present for the remake. Due to this dedication, Neil Druckmann has publicly promised fans that the core elements of the story will not be changed. This includes Ellie's character. In the expansion of the original game, it was revealed that Ellie is a lesbian. Having Druckmann come out and tell the fans that this will not be changed is certainly a relief. It wouldn't have been the first time we've seen characters in the LGBTQ+ community being sanitized for wider audiences. Fans who are a part of the community themselves are especially grateful for this. Erasure is much too common in this field, especially when it comes to bigger productions. Way to go, HBO. Finally, if you've not seen the trailer, now is the time to do so. It was released this September, sparking a ton of excitement and chatter surrounding the show. Fans got a taste of what the sets, costumes, score, and acting would look like. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are plastered front and center as the two leads. Anyone who has seen the trailer has felt a wave of thrill for the upcoming project. This was when people began claiming that this series would be the best and most awaited television program of 2023. What a claim to make while we are still in November of 2022. We are taking this as a good sign of the show's quality. There doesn't seem to be nearly as much apprehension now as there was right after the show's announcement. Well, it seems true that historically, video games are only sometimes adapted to film or television satisfactorily. Their awful screen adaptations have destroyed too many games' reputations. We're looking at you, Resident Evil. However, this series seems to have a lot going for it. A lot of the original staff of the game are included and contributing to this project, including the creative director and composer. We have also learned that the show will stick to the game's plot and characterization as much as possible, which is always good news. We have even heard from multiple celebrities sharing their excitement for the upcoming show. What about you? Are you excited about the show? We would love to hear all of your thoughts below. Do you have concerns about any aspect of the series? Do you have a favorite actor within the mix? Comment below.